how slow living helps me be more sustainable and to make more conscious decisions. Hi, I make videos about responsible design, conscious consumption, and sustainable lifestyle. And today I have a video for you with 10 things that I do or I try to do to be more mindful in my daily life and how it helps me to live more sustainably. First thing is connected to our phones, and it's being more mindful about the content I consume. This is something that on one hand I struggle with, but on the other it's really easy for me because I have some systems that I have implemented that help me to sustain it. So it's really hard for me because I have this urgency about productivity and this feeling that I always need to consume more knowledge. And I watch YouTube videos, speed it 2 times. I listen to podcasts, speed it 3 times, sometimes even. The same goes with audiobooks because I have this urgency that I need to consume more and more. And of course, it's all in the realm of quality content, but it's to this point that I consume too much and I don't have the space to reflect. So this is something that I also need to work on. But as I said, I focus more on the quality of this type of content. I don't use much of Instagram. I prefer longer content because I believe in longer form of content you can contain more information and it's described better because you have more time to describe something, to dive into the topic. And I believe choosing longer forms of content can give you more information. Also, by choosing audiobooks or podcasts, you'll see less advertisement because you have, as I said, longer content, and in books there are rarely ads, and in podcasts you can easily skip them and they are more visible, more obvious, and it's easier to avoid them or to consume them mindfully. The first thing I do is choose longer type of content. As I said, I'm not perfect. I need to work on the quantity of the content that I consume, and it's something that I will work on in the future. The second thing that is connected to social media is to choose the content that truly inspires me. As I said, I try not to use Instagram as much. I use Instagram mostly for personal reasons, and also I'm really specific about who I'm following. And it's really important for me that the content that I consume is either personal or it's inspirational, and I find it aesthetically pleasing from the point of view of inspiration for my own project and motivation in my own life. When you are in Instagram app, you can switch to see only the posts from people that you are following. That's first thing I do. Also, you can hide posts that are suggested by Instagram for, I think it works like you can hide it for 30 days and then you need to do it again, but it's pretty obvious when the 30 days have ended. So I do this as well. I haven't found any option to hide the advertisements, which also is obvious, but I try to avoid giving as many information or cookies to the algorithm, and then the advertisement that is shown to me isn't as appealing as it could be. So this is connected to Instagram, but to be honest, lately I have switched to consume more content on Pinterest. It's less consuming, I would say. It's not as mindless as Instagram, and it gives me this visual inspiration that I was talking about. So my social media strategies help me to avoid unwanted purchases and unreasonable purchases and overall overconsumption. And I rarely buy something online just because I saw an ad. Second thing I try to do is mindful eating. I try to eat in my kitchen by my table, and I try to avoid distractions while I'm eating. It helps me to reduce my food waste because I'm more mindful about what I'm eating. Then I'm more mindful of the portions that are perfect for me, and then I don't prepare too much, and then it doesn't go to waste. Being mindful when eating helps me eat more healthy and know exactly which produce I will use and which ones I don't like or I'm not using as often. And I know that these things will be eaten and won't go to waste. Next thing is slow fashion. As you know, I'm on a journey to creating capsule wardrobe. This is because I want to avoid decision fatigue and I want to have quality pieces in my wardrobe that I can mix and match and they always go together. But approaching this slow fashion mindset and creating this capsule wardrobe, which isn't yet created, it's a process. It helps me to avoid fast fashion. Next on my list is connecting to nature. So I have a dog. Well, I have two dogs, but one is old and doesn't really go to the forest anymore, unfortunately. But I try to have forest walks as often as I can. And lately I have decided to go without headphones and absorb the nature around me. This gives me the time to reflect. It gives me the time to collect my thoughts, and also it gives me the time to appreciate the nature and observe all the changes that are happening around us. It really makes me think about our planet and our surroundings, not only as I and my home and people that I know, but the whole globe. It gives me empathy, it gives me energy, gives me motivation. Many times it gives me anxiety, but that's another thing. Next slow practice that I have that is connected to my work and that is connected to what I do here is analyzing trends. I do it to understand how they work. I need this for my work, as I said, for my job and for my studies, and also here. I would say it's also kind of my hobby, and it always gives me this new perspective. It's eye-opening for me how people can, from something that is basic, create a trend. And thinking about trends in a mindful way really helps me to avoid overconsumption. And so many times I had this situation when analyzing a trend and observing it helped me to understand that I don't really need this thing. I don't need to follow this trend, and diving into these trends helps me to clear my mind from all the pressure that we have on being trendy. And many times it shows me how often I already have something that can be fitted into a trend. And actually this is why I have created Inside Trends, just because how much of impact this has on me and how much it helps me to avoid purchases and rethink how this society works and how all these brands are creating pressure to buy new things. I think we are on number 7, and this is understanding my surroundings and having clear space. I really need clear space to have clear mind, you know the saying. And when it's messy, I always have the problem to focus. Many people can say it's like a little bit OCD, but I don't think so. I think having this clear space helps me to collect my thoughts. I think it helps me to appreciate what I have and helps me to notice. It's the same as with wardrobe, to be honest. If I have clear space and if I don't have too many objects around me, I can appreciate the ones that I have. And this, once again, helps me to avoid overconsumption. This helps me to acknowledge which objects serve me value, which objects are functional for me, which are meaningful for me. Just knowing what's important for me and having in my space only the things that are important to me helps me to appreciate them, helps me to avoid buying new because I already have everything that I need. It also helps me to save money. I would even say that decluttering helps me with this. So clean space, declutter stuff, not only when it comes to slow fashion and capsule wardrobe, but also when it comes to the whole apartment and the things that I own. Next thing on my list is mindful mornings. Let me know if you want to see a video about my morning routine. It's pretty simple, but it gives me this structure for the day. And if I follow my morning routine, then the whole day gets better. And these few accomplishments in my morning routine set me up for a better day later. If I do my morning routine, I'm less stressed. I have more motivation to work. I make better decisions, more mindful and happier in a day. And all of these things are allowing me to take more conscious decisions, are allowing me to be more empathetic, and are helping me to feel more in tune with myself and my decisions. The last thing is staying educated and reading books. I have mentioned at the beginning, the first thing that I have mentioned was listening to audiobooks, but this connects also with the fact that I think I read a lot of books, not like huge amount, but I try to read every day. And this really helps me to broaden my horizons. Also, when I read, I gain knowledge about multiple topics, especially when I read non-fiction, but even when I read fiction books, it gives you this empathy. It can show you some problems in society that you wouldn't think of. It helps you to live through the life of someone else and to gain new perspectives. And I would say that reading books is really, really important for me. It should be something that everyone does. If you don't like reading, then try audiobooks. But if you don't mind reading and if you like reading, then half an hour before you go to sleep, read something. It will not only calm you down before the night and you will have a pretty good rest, but also it will give you this new perspective. It will give you new information. And the best thing for me is that books educate you without thinking about it in the way of education. As I said, it gives you this empathy. You can gain so much knowledge through it, and I really enjoy this habit of mine. And even though I don't do it daily, each time I remember to do it, and each time I choose a book over my phone, I'm so much calmer, happier, and I just feel better. My horizons are broadened. So I think that's it. Let me know if you want this video about my morning routine. I can do it. And also, if you have enjoyed it, if it was helpful, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!